he will have a technical overview, and we will have a technical overview from Ivan. So let's start, and welcome Milan.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Been a long time, I believe, around 2 months since our last meeting. We're going to have a very relatively quick Polkadot presentation, around 20, 30, 40 minutes, I guess, max, with some updates. Because the last Polkadot event we had was, I think, like September last year, so almost a year. So my presentation will be 2 parts. The first part is briefly introduce what Polkadot is. Some of you already seen it like a couple of times. But the second part is going to be more important, and what are the new features in Polkadot ecosystem, and the 3 main projects in Polkadot, which are already running. So yeah, and in the end of the talk, maybe a little bit of market Q&A. Okay, let's start the first page then. Okay, for the one who don't know what is Polkadot, Polkadot is a project established by Mr. Gavin Wood, which used to be the CTO of Ethereum, and very close friend of Vitalik. But what happened in the very early days of Ethereum, that they were actually thinking to do the Ethereum 2.0, which is probably happening after all next month. But Vitalik wasn't very eager to continue. Then Gavin took his own way, and he established Parity Incorporation, which is actually the main entity behind the Polkadot. And probably many of you knows that Gavin Wood is the founder of Solidity programming language, which is still actually the main language in Ethereum ecosystem. Basically, those are the 3 main guys in the Polkadot ecosystem. Basically, the founders of the Web3 Foundation, which is actually the entity who is supporting the Polkadot ecosystems. They're actually giving the grants. They're responsible for marketing, for global branding, etc. And obviously, there are very big stakers in Polkadot ecosystem as well. Also, they're like hell of a coders themselves, and working on different projects of optimizing the Polkadot ecosystem itself. Here is the timeline of Polkadot. Basically, the first white paper being published November 2016, but the actual project started like in May 2020, which is not that far away. And I remember pretty much the first day when Polkadot was officially announced. It was a big event, huge. We're going to talk about the prices and the tokens a little bit, but again, have in mind that this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my experience, and I'm just sharing only facts. So if you follow my advice, you will definitely lose your money. So you don't do that, please. But yeah, this is the main point, and Polkadot is up and running for almost 2 years and a couple of months already. Okay, a couple of facts about Polkadot. They're a little bit different now, but in generally, Polkadot is different than other blockchains like Solana, Cardano, Near, or Ethereum. Why? Because Polkadot is actually an ecosystem of blockchain. Polkadot is not a blockchain itself. So actually, there is no use of the token itself, because Polkadot is a layer 0. And you cannot do the smart contracts on Polkadot. But the other actually parachains and project can do the smart contracts, which I'll introduce later on. This is the very, how can I say, artistic graph of what Polkadot is. So basically, this is the main relay chain, which is actually the Polkadot core, where actually all the security, scalability, and all the features are established. How does it work? Polkadot is pure proof of stake, layer 0 infrastructure. So as long as you have more than 50% of the DOTS token staked within the ecosystem, the security is pretty much impregnable. So that never happened so far. So always, currently there's a 52%. But before the parachains auctions was about 67% of the dots being staked. So we should consider Polkadot as one of the most secure blockchains ever created. Different from Cosmos, for example, because the Cosmos ecosystem, each project is responsible for his own security, while in Polkadot, all the projects actually are sharing the Polkadot security. And those are the parachains, and we're going to talk about the parachains. This is different projects who are actually directly connected to the relay chain, and using the relay chain as an engine to do different transactions between themselves, and many other things, of course. Another quick facts about the main components. As I mentioned, the relay chain is the core. Parachains are actually the additional projects and dApps and platforms which are launching on the top of Polkadot. Actually, the maximum number of parachain is 100. So actually, the Polkadot cannot exceed more than 100 parachains. Currently, there are about 35 projects already deployed. And some other projects like EW2, Energy Web Token, and a couple of corporate blockchains are going to join the Polkadot ecosystem by paying, leasing some of the slots. EW2 is coming on Polkadot for one who are familiar with them. Paraheads, basically the EW2 is going to use the Parahead, which is the leased one. And there's the bridges, which are going to bridge the parachains to third parties and third networks, which we're going to describe now. Here are the details about the relay chain. As I mentioned that, smart contracts are not supported, and the actual relay chain is just a security consensus and cross-chain interoperability. Parachains, again, as I mentioned before, are those projects who already been deployed or willing to get deployed in order to use the Polkadot security, consensus, and all the great features. And this is the bridges and the paraheads, which are additional features. And as I mentioned earlier, you can actually bridge Polkadot projects and dApps with other ecosystems. And talking about bridges, we're going to talk about one of the bridges who've been explored, like on the 1st of August. One of the main bridges, Nomad Bridge, being hacked, and it was a big issue, especially for Moonbeam. But we're going to talk about this later on. And we need to know that the bridges are external from Polkadot projects and ecosystem. They have nothing to do with Polkadot. And you can exploit, obviously, some of them. Here is the logic, or the how exactly parachains works. As example, Plasm, which is the project that they changed their name, now it's Astor. I think it's a Japanese project, EVM compatible. So basically, this is the relay chain, this is the parachain itself. And on the top of each parachain, because Plasma is a EVM smart contract platform, you can pretty much run additional dApps, gaming, IoT, DeFi, whatever you want, pretty much. And in the same time to link with the Ethereum ecosystem. So basically once the layer 1 protocol is linked to Ethereum, all the dApps are automatically linked to the additional projects. It's worth to mention that Polkadot also consists of another chain. It's called Kusama. Kusama is kind of it's not really a test network, but it's kind of like a daughter, we call it like a daughter network. This is the place where all the developers and dApps have to actually deploy their projects in order to test the environment, to test the technical side. And once they actually pass the Kusama test, which is very similar to Polkadot, but with just different parameters, then they can deploy on Polkadot. Kusama used to be and appeared to be extremely successful project, because some of the project doesn't need Polkadot, because Polkadot is like a bank security level, while the Kusama, the security is a little bit lower. But actually it's good enough to run like a low tense app or project. Yes, because the requirements for being a Polkadot parachain is extremely high, and not all the companies and projects can really fulfill it. Talking about developers, I spoke with one of the main Solana guys 2 days ago. He said, oh, Solana has the second most developers. I said, no, Polkadot has the second most developers. But this is pretty much updated info, at least from our community. And you can pretty much refer it all over the internet that Polkadot is extremely active ecosystem in terms of developers and development. Web3 Foundation is doing a great job. There was a Polkadot hackathon, I think a month and a half ago. Gavin was in US and South America, Switzerland. So Polkadot is crazy now. More than 300 projects are developing as we're speaking. Staking. I took this info is like from a few days ago. Staking is around 14% now. And you can see numbers, if you put like 10K, what you have in the end of the year. But you can have the staking up to 63% now in some of the dApps, which I'm going to show in the end of the presentation, which are linked to Moonbeam. So currently there's just a little bit less than 300 validators. It's very difficult to become a validator because all the companies are related to Parity, to Web3, and very, very big entities. So that really is the security. But staking Polkadot is quite, quite low risk and very sustainable passive income. Treasury. Polkadot has a huge treasury. Like a few, I think 6 months ago, been estimated to around $12 billion. And the difference between Polkadot and other major networks is that Polkadot is not spending that much money here and there. They're spending money very steadily. They're supporting a lot of projects and ecosystems. It's going through Web3 Foundation, obviously, but they're evaluating the projects very carefully. They're just making sure that they're useful for the whole Polkadot ecosystem. And they're very sustainable and conservative, which I think in general is a very good approach in the long run. Crowd loan. What happened last year from September to mid-March is that Polkadot announced the first crowd loans, meaning that you have to stake your own token in order to receive the slot as a parachain. So there was a huge battle between all the projects of taking the dots from all of us, the holders, and on exchange they will give you part of their own tokens. So it was a crazy run. Some were very successful, some were horrible. But if you remember the experience from Kusama parachain auctions, some of the guys made a lot of money. For example, for one KSM, that time the price was around $250. So if you bought your one KSM against the Moon River, which is the test network of Moonbeam, you will receive like $5,500. So some people became millionaires of betting on Moon River. Moonbeam was a little bit different story, but we're going to discuss it in the end of the presentation. Yeah, this is the project who took the first 5 slots. As we predicted, we had a presentation actually just before the parachain auction itself. We said obviously the 3 major projects are Akala, Moonbeam, and Aster. So they won. And the funny thing is that Moonbeam actually got more than Akala during the end of the first crowd loan, but actually the crowd loans is very like it's Dutch auction. So basically they're counting the time of the crowd loan who was on the leading space for a longer time. So Akala was 7th against 30% to be first, and they got it. But this doesn't matter in the end of the day. And this is actually the number of tokens you receive against one dot you put in there. And this is the number of contributors. You can see the Moonbeam is like 70,000 against much lower to the other ones. Probably people were anticipating the success of Moonriver, but this is a little bit different story. The other two, which we're not going to discuss at all today, are Parallel Heiko and Glover Finance. This is a DeFi project, which is okay. Parallel is doing a lot of interesting things now, but they're actually very similar to Akala, so there is no real point to talk about them now. We're going to briefly talk about the first three. Oh, the deep dive. Okay, what is the most important thing what happened with Polkadot, I believe, like 3 months ago, plus minus? It's called XCM. And let's see what XCM is. It's a great feature which none of other blockchains have. Oh, my text is not here. Okay, because there's actually the problem between the Mac and my other presentation, but I'll explain. Okay, what XCM is? XCM is a messaging system which actually allows the projects within the Polkadot ecosystem to exchange, actually they can exchange their assets. And XCM is not a bridge. So basically it's automatic transactions between the different blockchain, which actually allow the whole ecosystem to get use of any of other tokens. And on the top of it, there's a lot of security, consensus, and other technical background. So it's amazing feature which actually been recently implemented, and it's going to open the full potential of Polkadot ecosystem. Basically, you'll be able to transfer the tokens within the Polkadot ecosystem and outside of the Polkadot system when they're paired with the Polkadot projects without really using the bridges, because bridges appear to be the most vulnerable part of the current layer ones. And here is some more info what XCMs can do between the parachains itself, between the parachain and the relay chains, and over the bridges. This is one of the most important features. Again, there's multiple usages, and this is like a very unique feature which actually Cosmos is trying to replicate now. Because what Polkadot do, Cosmos is doing afterwards. Same with Kusama. Okay, Cosmos did like a test network, and then again they're trying to do the XM. But Gavin Newt is a visionary, and he has plans for years to come. So hopefully we'll get better. Here are the features in more details. That they are programmable, they support the rich data, which actually the XM itself allows the Polkadot ecosystem to expand and to scale, not actually threatening the security of the ecosystem. Current transaction speed within the Polkadot ecosystem is 6 or 12 seconds. So basically each blockchain, each layer 1 can set up the block speed, depends of their needs. For example, Moonbeam set it up to 12 seconds, which is still okay. In Polkadot is 6 seconds. In Aster is also 6 seconds. So yeah, XCM will actually, again, allow to do this like interoperability between the blockchains. And not only that, Givenut is currently designing a new democracy consensus. Actually, they're going to introduce very soon, hopefully before end of the year, a completely new way of voting and completely new way of consensus. This is going to be something which has never been done before and never been seen. He announced it like a month ago in Argentina. So Polkadot will have a completely new governance model, which probably many others will copy afterwards. But let's see. And here is another usage of how XCM works. So basically, this is the Moonbeam itself. This is the new dot logo, which is quite funny. But yeah, parachains, Moonbeam, Glimmer, and Polkadot can share data, transactions, security consensus, and governance. Okay, again, for some reason, my text is not appearing here, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to present you the three main projects very briefly, and then we go to Q&A. The first one is Moonbeam. How many of you are familiar with Moonbeam? Hey, it's a good start. Okay, first this is the backers of Moonbeam. You can see serious guys like, basically the biggest backer is Michael Arrington. They created a $100 million fund, like, I think a month ago, for developing the whole ecosystem. Coinbase is there, Binance is there. Actually, Binance is the biggest node runner. Currently, they own like 6 million tokens, plus obviously. And they're and a lot of big guys. They have total of 16 VCs behind. But having and Moonbeam is the EVM compatible. Basically, this is the flagship of Polkadot ecosystem. So basically, you can deploy any Ethereum code straight to Moonbeam without really changing the code itself, which is actually a huge advantage for developers, as basically every project on Ethereum can go on Moonbeam and benefit mostly of the security. Because you have the security of Polkadot, you have a speed of Polkadot, and you have like the transactions and other benefits of Polkadot as well. So you don't need to touch the Ethereum ecosystem, but this transaction is going to take years. Let's see the ecosystem itself. So this is some of the projects which has already deployed on Polkadot. Chainlink integration already been finalized last month or the month before. Uniswap is coming on Moonbeam. Moonbeam will be one of the 5, I think, projects which Uniswap approved, already been confirmed. The funny thing is that the company who was supposed to integrate Uniswap is Nomad. And now they have some issues. We're going to talk a little bit later on. And those are some of the parachains Qt protocol. It's an amazing project. Parachains of Kusama. So it's identity, the future of identity is Qt. We will work to look on it. I think this is Fala. Fala is okay. Akala, Equilibrium, and many more now, because this is not updated. Also, you can see Lido. Lido Moonbeam is also working now. Curve Finance, and a lot of projects are on the way. So Moonbeam started like late January. So this is extremely new project, and by the time they've been deployed, which is like 6-7 months, they did enormous work. And I think there's a great future coming. Let's see why. Moonbeam token is called Glimmer. And this is the token distribution. Current price as per 2 days ago, I believe, or 3 days. And the supply, current supply is, total supply is 1 billion. Current supply is about 1/3 of the supply is in circulation. Which is normal because there's a lot of VCs, and the VCs are going to still receive their coins for the next year and a half. So every month there's around 18 million glimmers of going on the market. So this might affect the price. Basically, the glimmer started like from $14 on Binance, went to 58 cents. The problem there was that a lot of companies who already bankrupted were investors in Glimmer. And Three Arrows Capital was one of the biggest investors in Glimmer. And they breached their contract and they sold all their Glimmers. Basically, which they're not supposed to. This changed the price like from 130 to like 80 cents. This is the distribution itself. I believe we're somewhere in here now. And despite this being an amazing project, like really crazy project with a huge potential, we still have to be extremely patient because this is a long-term project, and I would say it's very similar, let's say, to probably Matic or Atom, which we've been dragging for almost 2 years before nothing happened, and then they went to the moon, like to the Moonbeam. So Moonbeam has a similar behavior and much higher potential because of the Polkadot background. But again, do your own research, check. There's a very active community on Telegram. Personally, I think it's a great project, and it's worth investigating. This is how the Moonbeam interface look like. So basically, they have already deployed some of the coins, the tokens from other parachains. As I mentioned earlier, via the XCM, actually you can transfer Akala or our favorite Akala USD, or BTC, or Para, or Polkadot. So basically the difference is that once they come on the Moonbeam, they're becoming like a XC, which is the XCM Polkadot. And the other thing is that you can use the MetaMask for Moonbeam, and your Ethereum address is exactly the same as your Moonbeam address. So this is the interface, this is the governance, and obviously there's another menu for the staking. Currently, the staking return is around 22%, which is relatively high. The inflation of whole ecosystem is 5%. So once all the tokens being released, the supply is going to increase 5% a year. But this is not going to happen now, but after a year and a half. This is one of the new projects on Moonbeam. It's called Moonwell, also backed by Coinbase and a bunch of VCs. This is very similar to Lido. How many of you are familiar with Lido? Yeah, so Lido is a kind of like a how to say, it's like a staking DeFi platform. What actually you can do is just to supply, let's say, Polkadot or Moonbeam or Frax or Ethereum or BTC, and actually you can borrow. You can see the current interest rate from yesterday is 63% of Polkadot. But if you want to borrow Polkadot from the ecosystem, you need to pay 36%. And I believe Moonbeam is something similar, 34 against 10%. So it's a very interesting platform. Actually, it allows you to use your own actually borrowed tokens out of your token and to use it in different ecosystems and to make a higher return. And one of the different projects there is called Stella Swap. So Moonbeam has its own DEX. Actually, there's 3 DEXs: Swap, Stella Swap, and Solar, I think. So actually, you can put your money on Moonwell, and you can borrow 60 to 70% of your dots or whatever, and you can farm here. You can see the current farm ratio between well and Glimmer is like 200% plus, 80%, and there's a bunch of others on the bottom. So this DEX is quite good. But what happened on the August 1st? Actually, the company who was providing the bridges, Nomads, and they're doing the bridges for Near ecosystem, they're doing for Cosmos, and they used to be the most reliable, how can I say, software company in the bridges. They've been hacked, and they lost around $160 million. So the Moonbeam TVL from $500 billion went down to like 250 million. And actually this really impacted the ecosystem because the pairs between the Glimmer and Nomad USDC pretty much been drained. And Nomad USDC lost its peg. Now it's 25 cents, and nobody is sure what's going on. So this is not a problem of Polkadot or Moonbeam or anyone, but the third party. But it's happened. It was a big blow for the whole ecosystem. After 3 Arrows Capital, after Terra Luna, now Nomad, and few days ago, Akala. But let's go to Akala to see what's going on there. The text is here now. Okay, Akala is the second one. Pretty much the first parachain, but the second of importance, I think. It's a pure DeFi protocol. Actually, it's quite nice. And they have another algorithmic coin, AUSD. Okay, AUSD, another algorithmic coin, and since those coins are the main target now. Obviously, Akala has 32 backers. Again, big guys: Polychain, Arrington, Pantera, and Coinbase. So they're well funded. Everything is good. They have a lot of money, and they created a very, very nice platform. This is part of their ecosystem. As you can see, a lot of familiar names. This is the companies within the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, including Moonbeam, Nodo, Aster, Fala, Interlay, which is the BTC, and a number of wallets. So Akala, quite good project as well. They're moving quite slow, and they make a minor mistake 3 days ago. What I'm talking about, a minor mistake, here is the Akala interface, and you can see a lot of pairs connected to AUSD. So basically what they did is they created their own algorithmic coin, and they pair it with their main coins, which is Akala, with Polkadot, with DOT, and some others. But someone breached their like smart contract, or I'm not sure exactly, and he minted $1.2 billion like two days ago. So actually the Akala dollar went down to 5 cents in a matter of minutes. What happened after is that the good news was that nobody was able to steal those money, because actually all this 1.2 billion were in the Akala ecosystem itself. So basically they froze everything. They put a very, very quick voting, and they voted to burn all these tokens. So over the next few days, I think today, the Akala dollar is around 92, 93 cents. So it's almost returned the back, because there was not that many Akalas issued originally. I think around 10, 15 million. But anyway, this is another proof that all those algorithmic coins are extremely dangerous, and wherever you're involved with farming or investing in other projects or infrastructures, you should be extremely careful, because it's too much now. But anyways, Akala is a very, very interesting project, but currently they're not doing much, to be honest. They have bridges through other ecosystems. They have this they have the money market. So basically you can actually exchange the liquid dots against dots, meaning that you can exchange your dots you put for the parachain to actual dots. But the rate is not quite good now. It's I think it's 0.6. So basically for one, yes,
If they could freeze and burn, was it like a metallic style fork, or how could they freeze and burn? How centralized and how?
Well, no, they voted. They voted this. So basically they put a vote within the ecosystem. Will you accept to freeze and burn those stolen tokens, which are still in the network? And the majority vote yes, so they did it. So it's kind of democracy. But anyways, it's still a big blow, wherever you look at it. Okay, the last one is Aster. My text is not there, but again, huge backers. And Aster is the third big project on Polkadot ecosystem, and the last we're going to check. Aster is another EVM, basically similar to Moonbeam. But what they do is, actually they're working on the corporate level, and they're working with the third parties. So this is the interface of Aster itself. What you can do with your already, actually all those Aster tokens, they're already vested. So even you cannot access your vested tokens, you can still choose different dApps who are going or already launched on Aster, and you can stake your tokens for like 10.5% currently. So actually they're going to involve all this project within the ecosystem, but they're moving quite slow. Integration is a little bit different. There was a rumor I think 6 months ago that they're going to work with Microsoft. Then the token went to the sky and then back. They're also very reliable and good project, but again, Moonbeam is my favorite for many reasons. Worth watching for Aster as a project, but you need to research the tokenomics and the backers, how many tokens the VC has. Overall, Polkadot ecosystem is moving very well. It takes time. It's a very young project, and the whole project is like 2 years old, a little bit more. And we shouldn't make any conclusions so far. Personally, I think the potential of Polkadot is probably the highest compared to other projects because of the security, scalability, and getting behind and the Web3 Foundation. But again, do your own research and make your own decision. Okay, thank you very much. That was for Polkadot. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer as well. Questions? No questions. Okay.
Hey, when they voted to freeze those tokens, to burn the tokens, did the guy who created all the tokens use those to vote for himself?
No, they just freeze it first and then they vote.
Okay.
Because I mean, he created the dollars. You know, you cannot vote with AUSD. You can vote with Akala tokens.
So it wasn't the governance token that he minted?
Yeah, I mean, like he actually minted the dollars itself. So probably he was hoping to exchange those dollars for like different coins, Ethereums and dots, and then take them out. But apparently they figured it out very quickly. They froze and everything. Yeah.
What are the staking rewards versus the inflation on the token itself?
Staking rewards on where?
On Polkadot?
Well, the inflation is officially around 11%. It's already inbuilt in the system. The current circulation supply in Polkadot is around 1.16 billion dots. They're all circulating, and we have like 11% inflation.
So if the staking rewards are 13%, you're only really getting 2%, right?
Actually, you can, no, actually, you're still having 13%, but obviously this inflation is like food, you know. Like for example, the prices are going up, and obviously you're looking for assets who are having a higher return than the inflation itself. So basically, if you are a swing trader or holder, you need to have in mind that inflation is there. So either you stake or whatever you want to do. Apparently, inflation also staking rewards depends on how many tokens are staked. So the less tokens you have, the higher interest rate you have. And also, you need to know that you need 28 days to unstake. So it's almost a month. But you have like projects like a Moonbeam and like Moonwell. You have like 60% now. And I was checking Dot. Dot was behaving very, very solidly lately. So it's worth looking for.
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand why a developer would choose Polkadot to build on Polkadot instead of other places.
Security, scalability, and speed.
Right, but there's also been a lot of problems in the security, which I understand there's nothing to do with the base of Polkadot. But, like, what are they exposed in other blockchains that the security of Polkadot prevents specifically?
Those exploits on Nomad Bridge and Akala are not connected to the project itself at all.
Right.
Like Nomad is the third-party company who are actually doing only bridges, meaning that if you have like any asset, ERC20 assets, and you want to move it through to Moonbeam ecosystem, you have to use their own bridge, their own app. And what happened is that those hackers actually exploit the bridge itself. They drain the liquidity through the bridge.
Yes.
So this has nothing to do with the Polkadot, because Polkadot security is impregnable. Like, it's 100% secure, as long as 50% plus of the tokens are there. Again, everyone can make a choice which layer 1 or layer 0 to use. So it's a preference. For example, Cosmos pulled a lot of projects from Ethereum. I can't remember, DYDX, which is the decentralized derivative platform, one of the best one, is moving from Ethereum to Cosmos. Why? Because the investors in DYDX and Cosmos are the same. So pretty much they push DYDX to move to Cosmos. And a lot of changes are making for different reasons. But Polkadot is a free ecosystem. I mean, like, everyone can do whatever they want. It's a free play. Really.
So is there another function of the Polkadot token other than for security in the main layer?
Well, security, governance, obviously, there's a lot of important governance decisions being made as well. Also, Polkadot is asset itself. You can use it on DeFi ecosystems. You can stake, you can lend, you can borrow.
But if you're building on Polkadot, do you need the token?
You cannot build on the Polkadot. Polkadot is not a smart contract.
Right. But
Actually, it's layer 0. So on the top of it, you have like a
okay.
layer 1, which is moving.
If you
So-
want to link your parachain on Polkadot,
Yeah, obviously, if you want to become a parachain, you need to stake dots. So apparently, if you want to get connected to all these chains, if you want to have security and all this, you need the dot tokens really to participate.
do the users of the parachain need the token?
Yeah, they put like I can't remember, like around 15% of the dots, which is like I don't know, like 20 million, are being staked through parachain auctions. So basically, they had to grab the dots from retail in order to qualify to become the parachain.
Okay. If I am using a parachain, do I need to use the token
No, you just need to stake it.
as a user?
Yeah, but these auctions are happening every 2 years, right? Meaning that after your lease finished, after 2 years, you're going to need again to accumulate number of dots in order to qualify to get there. So there's a lot of usages. Let's put it this way: a lot of use cases, and dot is essential factor in this one. Yeah. Polygon is a interesting network, funny network. Security again. If we go in the past, Polygon also been hacked. Like I think last year. Their ecosystem is like quite fast, quite cheap, already developed, but security is not in the same level. That's the difference. And in the long run, even today, I was reading something that there is still major flaws in Polygon Matic ecosystem, which potentially could be exploited in the future. So I cannot go through the details because I don't know the details, just following the opinions of technical experts. Again, I'm not pushing for Polkadot or anything. Everyone is free to choose whatever they want. Polygon is a nice network. Already, I think they're top 11 or top 12 now. But again, security in the long run is an issue, again. Any more questions? Hey.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a good question or not, but is XCM on Polkadot analogous to IBC on Cosmos? Is it different chains or something?
Well, I'm not sure what IBC is on Cosmos, but I believe it's similar. XCM is just, as I mentioned, it's a mechanism, it's a messaging system, where actually allows the parachains to talk to each other and to exchange information and tokens and security and everything, which actually gives you the flexibility to to do pretty much everything. Because the biggest issue before the XCM is that actually the parachains and the region, they're not linked. So we cannot sell Moonbeam or Akala or other way around. But now they have all the ability to get the whole ecosystem in one place. And it is happening as we're speaking.
So say I have a project, or say I have leased a parachain for a period of 2 years.
Yep.
My ecosystem is thriving, it's all going really well, and my lease is up, and somehow in the competition for the limited number of slots, my project does not win a new parachain slot.
In this
What
case,
happens?
you use Parahead. So basically, you need to pay per use, kind of. So basically, even you're not qualified, which is unlikely to happen, but because if you're like successful project, obviously all of the contributors will actually contribute their tokens again. Because what Moonbeam is doing now, they're burning like 20% of their transaction fees, and they're actually collecting the money for the next parachain. Plus their treasury already has some amount ready for the next 2 years. So everything is quite well organized in general. Okay, let's finish now because the highlight of the night is coming, which is the Neon Labs, which are much better than Polkadot in general, Solana ecosystem. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Milan, for the presentation and answering all the burning questions. We're now going to have a 5 minutes break, and next presenter will be there will be 2 presenters from Neon Lab. We're going to have 5 minutes presentation. So the bar will still open until 9. You can still grab some drinks or burgers, and there's a special secret sauce burger on Wednesday. You can try, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you.